Hey Shoujo fans, welcome to episode 62 of the Shoujo Sundae podcast. This week we will recap Sasaki and Miyano episodes 4 through 6 with special guest Pearl Lowe, the founder of Orange Blossom Studios and creator of magical girl show Wheels and Roses. Let's dig in.
I'd make you more than happy. けどゆっくりしようね Brain freeze ご注意できるかな Handle me 高すぎカロリー Sugar 以上甘い Feeling with you next to me baby おかわりね仕上がれ
All right. Hi, Pearl.
Hey.
We're so happy to have you on Shoujo Sundae.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like I have a feather in my cap because it's like, ooh. I have been low-key plotting this since my days with For All Nerds. Like, how can I interact with Pearl? Like, finally, it's my time.
The time has come.
Yes. So before we actually get into Sasaki and Miyano, we wanted to ask you a couple of questions. So the first one is for our listeners who, for some reason, are not aware of your past work and what you're currently working on. Could you please explain who you are, what is Orange Blossom Studios, and the shows you have worked on previously?
Yeah. So, hi, everybody who's listening. My name is Pearl Lowe. I'm a Jamaican Cantonese artist, director, creator in animation. I've been working in animation for almost 9 years now. And some of the past work that I've worked on have been things from preschool shows like Octonauts to short films like Hair Love to TV shows like Craig of the Creek. And I've been at studios all over from A24 to Sony to Netflix, you name it. Orange Blossom Studios, though, is my own independent online-based animation studio. I created it last year, and it was to kind of carve out space for creating animation with others without borders, wanting to work with artists no matter where they're from. And one thing that I love in my artistic practice, which is why I'm so excited to be here, is that I love magical stories, and Orange Blossom Studio centers diverse and magical cultural stories. So that's kind of our thing. But yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited to chat with you.
Yes. No, honestly, we truly love that. I think just being able to work with so many people is so important. And that's something that Giana and I have incorporated in our work as well. So like our theme song is sung by Paida, who is a J idol, and she's one of the best people you'll ever meet. Just fun, hands down. And like the producer of our theme song, their name is Jem, and they are in South America. And
so cool.
I think somebody else that helped with our song was Harofusho, who is in Japan. So like literally we see eye to eye. Even our logo designer, Sam, or Jello Plum, is in Thailand. So yeah.
International, we love to see it.
Yeah.
Yes. We would love to also ask you, like, what do you love about shoujo and maho shoujo, which is magical girl, everyone who's listening? I hope you would know that because this is a shoujo podcast, but still. So what do you love about shoujo and maho shoujo content?
What I love about shoujo and maho shoujo has definitely evolved over the years as my tastes have changed. But my initial impression, or the initial impression that shoujo and maho shoujo made on me, was that it kind of gave a relatable, feeling and a sense of nostalgia and a sense of wonder in a way where I didn't feel like I could find that in any other type of genre. I think also being able to see at the time, identifying as a girl and seeing different types of characters who are out here living their lives, being messy, but also like having cool adventures and incorporating magic in that was something that I really still like to this day. So I think that is something that maho shoujo and shoujo in particular captures really well. Yeah.
I think for us, just finding representation and just the wonder of the world when you see shoujo, but then in particular Mahou shoujo content. I think that's what captured Giana and I in the beginning as well, because like, of course, we got into like Sailor Moon and stuff like that. And so I think being able to believe that there's magic within us somehow and seeing that in media was so important.
Yeah. And especially as someone who grew up with two older brothers, there was a lot of like Marvel comics and, you know, like Spider-Man or whatever. So like you see these like masculine superheroes who have these cool powers and it's like, oh, well, I guess that's like a boy thing. But then it's like all of a sudden you discover something like Sailor Moon or Cardcaptor Sakura. And it's like, oh, like feminine people can have powers too. Like this is like me. Like I could do that, you know? I can relate to that. So I feel like it's so important.
I agree. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. With that being said, and of course, kind of segueing off of us talking about Cardcaptor Sakura, but then also Sailor Moon, we want to know, for the listeners, what is Wheels and Roses all about?
Yeah, so Wheels and Roses is my personal indie animation project that Orange Blossom Studios produced, and it's a Sailor Moon meets roller derby coming of age story, and it centers Black and brown kiddos just having fun on skates and being magical. I really wanted to tell a story that kind of how can I say, put together two genres that aren't necessarily put together, sports anime and magical girl anime, but it was something that I really wanted to do because I love those genres, both of them. And so Wheels and Roses kind of popped up and I was like, you know what, let me make a self-indulgent project because there isn't a lot of magical girl content in the Western animation industry. So I decided like, okay, since I'm not finding what I want, I'm going to try to make what I want to see in the world.
Yes. And honestly, so many kudos to you.
Yes.
We saw the Kickstarter and we were like sharing it heavily. And just, I think I am so impacted by Wheels and Roses because I know what it would have meant to me if I was growing up. Like my reaction to Sailor Moon was like instant. And so just the idea of seeing an anime where Black and brown children are like at the forefront, they're represented, it's so meaningful to me. So I'm just really glad that you're putting this out into the world.
Oh, thank you so much. Honestly, it's like one of those things where you forget, I guess for me anyway, I forget sometimes how impactful artwork can be just because I'm like, oh, I'm over here doing my own thing. I love magical girls. Like, no one's going to see this. And then when you put it out into the world and you see people's responses, I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, people do want to see this kind of stuff. I got I got a DM with a voice note from somebody I don't know on Instagram. And they were in tears trying to record this voice note telling me that they were also a Black woman who loves to skate recreationally and how much it would mean to them. It would have meant to them if they saw this as a kid, and they're really grateful that Wheels and Roses exists. And I'm like, oh my God, cry.
Yes. Yes.
That's so incredible.
Yeah, it was so sweet.
I mean, I would cry. Like, I'm keeping it together. I'm a thug. I'm keeping it together. But like, just the thought of Wheels and Roses, just the thought of it being real and coming to fruition, it's just so powerful and impactful. And honestly, I am glad that you met your Kickstarter goal. Segueing into that, like, congratulations. Did you expect to see that level of support for the show?
Oh, thank you so much. I had no idea what to expect. My Kickstarter experience started in 2018, and I had fundraised before for a personal comic I wanted to do, and the goal was like $8,000. And back then I was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna get $8,000 from people on the internet? I don't know. But that one was successful, and I was like, great, that's amazing. But for this, I was really nervous actually, just because $90,000 is a lot to fundraise, and I wasn't sure if people would respond to it, because I don't know if people want to see this kind of story put out to the world. But it was cool to be able to meet that goal and surpass it. You know, we fundraised over $100,000, and I was like, wow, okay, there's like community around this, and people really want to see it. And you know, I think that's one thing that I've been pleasantly surprised about the Kickstarter process too. It's just like, oh, like community is forming, and we're all coming together because we share a common interest in like magical girl content, as well as, you know, just being like, wow, queer visibility, like there are queer kiddos on screen, like that's amazing, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, the answer is I had no idea that any of this would happen, and it was the best kind of surprise.
Yes. I mean, I was astounded just seeing how many people were so dedicated to it. Not that because of the fact, like I already believed in the project, but then it was just seeing so many different people. And the thing about it with Wheels and Roses is that even though the project is centering Black and brown children and stuff, the support is from everyone.
Right.
And so it was really heartwarming to just see so many different faces and people really just rooting for this project. And you going past your goal, like, I know it made me and Giana like so excited.
Thank you.
Yeah. So one last question before we get into Sasaki and Miyano for real. Okay. After seeing a few episodes of the anime, what would you say your overall thoughts are on it?
All right. Nah, I'm not gonna come here and try to be too much of a hater. And I hope people who are listening do not come for me. But I found it to be really slow paced and not character driven enough for me personally. I'm guessing we'll talk about it more into detail. But yeah, my first impressions were, okay, this is like a slower paced kind of show. And the characters, for me, haven't experienced a lot of growth. I watched episodes 1 to 6, and I think the series is 12 episodes in total. And for being at the halfway point, I was like, oh, I don't care about these characters at all in a way, just because I haven't seen their growth. So I don't know, maybe from episode 6 and beyond, you know, maybe there will be like rapid change and a lot of movement in the story. But up until the point that I watched anyway, I was like, okay, this is more of like a chill, slower paced show for me.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think maybe it's because I think Giana and I have been reviewing other anime where we've run into older, so like for instance, like Ouran High School Host Club, we love Ouran High School Host Club down, but like the romance, it's there, but it took so long.
Well, right. Even I feel like I think I said this in our Discord server recently. I feel like with Ouran, it's not necessarily a romance anime, but it's a comedy with romantic elements. So it's like, it kind of teases having a romantic storyline. I can see what you mean though about this being slower paced. I, for one, like I live for a slow burn romance. Like the slow yearning tension it breathes life. It like call Evanescence. It has brought me back to life essentially. Like that's how I feel about a slow burn.
Yeah.
When you were saying that, I couldn't help but think, because you were like, we're at the halfway point, you know, what will the back half be more like this quick growth? And it made me think about not a shoujo, but for our Shonen Sunday on Patreon, me and Chika had been talking about Horimiya for a hot minute, and I'm like, oh, well, it'd be like the opposite of Horimiya, where it's like the first half was really good and then it took a turn in the second half. Sorry,
Right.
Horimiya fans, we're just gonna piss everybody off with this episode.
I guess so.
Everybody's mad. Everybody's mad. Gianna's like spilling the beans, like, yeah, we didn't like Horimiya.
Well, I wouldn't say over. There were elements. There were
parts that we liked, but yeah, if y'all want to hear about that, you know,
if you want to know
get
why,
on the Patreon.
Yeah, get on Patreon. You gotta know.
Get on Patreon. Yeah.
Thank you.
But in any case, I guess we can actually just fully get into episode 4 of Sasaki and Miyano, Limit. Here is our soft serve summary brought to you by Wikipedia. A new school year begins as Miyano continues to contemplate the meaning of Sasaki's statement on the train and wonders if he has a crush on him. In the hallway, a passerby accidentally knocks Miyano against Sasaki, causing the latter to become visibly flustered by their closeness. At home, Miyano reasons that he cannot be attracted to Sasaki because he had a crush on a girl in middle school. Miyano overhears Ogasawara arguing with his girlfriend Imi over the phone and tries to offer some advice. Ogasawara reaches out to pat his head, but Sasaki, who is walking past, protectively grabs Miyano from behind on instinct before realizing he's only talking to Ogasawara. The incident causes Miyano to ponder whether he is in fact attracted to males as well as females, and he wonders if Sasaki is as well. And that is our summary. So, to get into theme, let's start off with you, Pearl. What is your theme for this episode?
I had a couple themes that maybe you guys also saw, but I thought one, internalized homophobia was a theme that I found. Just because of like the, you know what I mean? Like just kind of like, oh no, I can't possibly be attracted to a man, or,
right.
You know, the classmates being like, I'm not attracted to men loving men, BL. So there's some of that. And I don't know what year this takes place in, this anime, or when it was made. And I also know that like generally queer folks don't feel like accepted, or they can be openly queer in Japan. But yeah, it just felt like Miyano doesn't know that bisexuality is a thing, or is actively not recognizing that possibility. So yeah, to that point of internalized homophobia, that's what I saw.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Just him being sort of stuck in that heteronormativity despite being into BL.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, Gianna?
Okay, I wanted to write like a poetic theme, but I don't know if I quite worded it as nicely as I wanted to. So here is my attempt. I wrote, sometimes we fall in love in both a startling and beautiful way.
That was great. I feel like that was lovely.
That was very
Thank
pretty.
you.
Yeah. I said love can be slow, but also fast at the same time. Which, I mean, I think when I put that, it was like, they made it a point in this episode to be like, to show the passage of time, so that it's like March, April. So at that point, I was just like, oh, this is kind of moving slowly. Then all of a sudden, Miyano's paying attention, then it just feels like it's fast, right?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, like getting to what Pearl was talking about. I think the reason why it could be classified as slow burn is because we're waiting for Miyano to realize that he has feelings for Sasaki. So it's just like, when is he gonna clue in? Because we're already in. Like, we're here.
We know what it's about.
Yeah, we're in that situation where like he's in, but he's just not aware of it yet.
Yeah.
It's a big leap he has to like make to like get over that, you know, the like we were saying, the internalized like homophobia, or just like the heteronormativity of it all.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting too that this might be Miyano's first, I don't know, experience with having to look at themselves and like who they are and what they like and why they like what they like and that kind of stuff. I feel like at that age too, sometimes you just like things like, oh, I love this story. Oh, I love this show. And then having to be confronted with the question of like, wait, why do I like this? And this is now affecting maybe not just me, but like how I move through the world. I think it's a very big first for Miyano.
Yeah, definitely. Does anyone have sprinkle on top?
I do.
Okay.
It feels like a pretty typical sprinkle on top because it's spring now and there's cherry blossoms blossoming while Miyano's feelings are also blossoming. So I love that.
Okay, Pearl, do you have a sprinkle on top? Because I know I don't.
Yeah, I have some that also was already mentioned, but I think this was kind of pulling from previous episodes. I think maybe we saw a cat in this episode. You know how they cut away to the cat that's just like hanging around the school?
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, is there like symbolism where like the cat is one Sasaki low-key, but like when he mentions like, or Miyano mentions Sasaki has like a cat's tongue, or like, I don't know if the equivalent in English is like cat's got your tongue.
Yeah.
I don't know if like, if that's just like talking about how Sasaki and Miyano just aren't really open yet about their feelings. They're kind of like wanting to say something, but then just not being able to fully, express how they're feeling right now. So maybe that's like one symbolism thing.
Oh, okay.
And then I was also thinking like, springtime. It's the start of a new year. Flowers are blooming, change is happening. And maybe this episode is meant to highlight the emotional change that Miyano and Sasaki are going through at this time.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yes, it's very beautiful. I was like, spot on. Okay, everyone's showing out on me. Okay.
Oh, no.
No, it's fine. I don't even think I have sprinkles for this entire podcast episode, but it's cool. We're going to work with it. So let's move into Floats Your Boat. Gianna, what is one of your likes?
Okay, so the first thing that I have is when a seat opens up on the train and Miyano just gives it to Sasaki before Sasaki could even tell him that there's a seat open. Just so very considerate, so very cute.
Yes.
Super cute. Agree.
And then he was just like, do you want to sit on his lap? And I was just like, Sasaki.
On top.
Yes.
Please.
Please. Okay.
That would have been so bold if he did.
Right. He would never do it. But it's like,
No.
please indulge me. Like, my head was already there. It's like, okay.
I would cease to exist if my crush asked me that. I'd be like, I am passing away. This is my ghost.
Right.
I am not here.
I have evaporated.
Gianna does not exist anymore.
I'm in the next plane. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pearl, what is one of your likes?
I really liked the background art this episode. I think there were like a couple different styles they used. For example, like around the 2:44 timestamp, there was like a shot of cherry blossoms that looked super textured and picture book like. And I just really liked that like exploration that they did and kind of switching up the different styles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really love, just outside of having just the different backgrounds and stuff, the fact that they're so dedicated, because Sasaki and Miyano is a shoujo, and so you get to see these shots that it's like, this is shoujo. Like, you have bubbles, you have stars. I was dying. I was just like, it's so shoujo. Oh my God. Like, yes.
Yeah, this is such a pleasing anime to look at. It's honestly becoming a bit of a comfort show for me, as I've sat down to watch it for the podcast. So, like, I'm sure I will revisit this in the future, unless, it takes a weird turn in the second half or something. But, right now I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And, like, a big part of that is how wonderful it is to look at. It's just so pleasing on the eyes, and it just kind of, like, brings me peace.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially after we watched, like, Oku, which is a josei.
Yeah.
Oku was so austere and like hard. So it's just like, it's nice to be back in familiar territory.
Something cozy.
Yeah, this is a bit of a healing experience for me.
Yeah, something cozy and just sweet and like, oh, okay, I don't need to think as hard. Like, okay, cool. Oh, well, I could go from so many different places. But I will say, at one point, we see Sasaki notices that there's a cherry blossom petal that's in Miyano's hair. And so he's just staring at it. And then he just like, oh, you had this in your hair. And like, he shows it to him, but he keeps it.
Oh my God.
He is obsessed. He is in love.
He is so in love.
So in love. It is adorable. Like, I'm just rooting for Sasaki. Like,
oh, same.
We're on the Sasaki fan club.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have any more likes? I feel like I have 3. Yeah.
I have 2.
Okay.
So the next Floats Your Boat that I have is that my mouth literally dropped at the accidental kamedan scene when a boy bumps into Miyano in the hallway and then he just like puts his arm against the wall in front of Sasaki. Oh my God, the tension. And then Sasaki's like grabbing his sleeve, and like these emerging feelings that Miyano just like doesn't know how to interpret just like bolt through him, and he's remembering Sasaki's confession. That scene was incredible.
Yeah. I'm thinking that, like, we know how much that Sasaki is just in love with Miyano. And so when that happened and he was so smooth with it, he was just like, is your wrist okay? And the way he was cradling it, I was like, let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come on.
He is so highly aware that he's like, my life is a BL. This is a BL. We are living for the drama.
Right. Yeah. I loved it. I was just like, oh, you better go. Okay. Yeah, I was here for it. And I think at that moment, just seeing Miyano notice Sasaki, like, for real,
Yeah.
that was nice. I was just like, okay, yeah, because he is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, yeah. So my second to last is, it's kind of just funny, but it was with Ogasawara.
Okay.
So he basically asked Miyano, do I look like a bottom? And I was just like, that is a very crazy thing to ask your classmate.
That really is. Oh my God. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah,
for some
I didn't
reason.
think about it that way.
That's a lot.
Yeah, because, like, what? No, like, well, of course, no. But then outside of it, like, just out of all people, him asking Miyano that, like,
Right.
no.
My last floats your boat is when, Miyano gets home and he's got all these nerves and he's like, you know what? I'm just going to open up a manga to try and calm my nerves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just his exact situation portrayed on the page. I think it said something like, I fell in love with you as a person, regardless of gender. And then he just starts imagining him and Sasaki in a BL. And then he's like apologizing out loud to Sasaki, even though there's no way he could have known he ever even imagined it. Not like he would want him to apologize for imagining it either. But that scene, it was honestly really touching in a way, even though it was like funny and comedic, like he's really unable to shake these feelings and he has no choice but to start processing them.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the way that it was portrayed with humor because, it's scary, but it's nice to be able to laugh about it too.
Right. And then the fact that the BL was showing his exact situation, it's just like, even the BL knows.
Even the BL knows.
Like, they know what we, the watchers, know. Like, you just have to accept it.
Yes.
But yeah, I think my last one, like, I put it in all caps, was the window grab. Oh,
I have that in Banana Split.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't want to dampen it. Please go ahead.
No, it's okay, because, like, for me, I was just like, okay, so even the episode title was like, he was at his limit, right? And so just the idea that somebody else was going to pat Miyano's head and he was just like, I'm holding him. And it's just like, okay, first of all, let's not be a little too possessive. But at the same time, I was just like, this is so cute. Okay. Like,
Yeah, I mean, when that window slid open and like he like put his arm around him, it definitely took my breath away.
mm-hmm.
But it's Banana Split just because of what you were saying. Like, but it's a bit possessive to be like an almost head pat. Like, I must put a stop to this when you're not actually together and he's still considering whether or not he has feelings. So it just seemed like a bit much, but I still enjoyed the scene.
Right, yeah. I mean, I had it in Floats Your Boat and I also had it in Nuts because I was just like, you were just grabbing him and stuff. But then besides the grab, I guess this could also be in Banana Split, was just the way that Sasaki looked at Ogasawara before he realized who it was.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
the glare, that was very territorial. And it's just like, come on.
Right. He's not yours to grab through windows. Hopefully just yet.
Not
but,
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pearl, do you have any banana split?
Yeah, I have one, which again is something that could be solved with the second half of the series. I was just kind of confused at Sasaki and Miyano's relationship, I guess, in general. Not because they didn't display like not feeling anything for one another, but just kind of like what brings them together feels a little like shallow in a way. But I'm just trying to also think about it from like a kid's perspective, because they're kids.
Yeah.
And so like trying to connect with like an upperclassman who doesn't have anything in common with you except for wanting to read these books, and like Miyano being like this younger freshman type kind of kid giving this to their senior. It was just kind of like an interesting dynamic that I was just kind of unclear about. I think it's interesting to explore like the power dynamics with that, you know, being like someone who's older and you just kind of giving your books away, like, okay, yeah, sure, we're connecting. But yeah, I'm just kind of like a little bit like stewing on that. Like, okay, like where's that gonna go? That's how I felt at this episode anyway, at that point in time.
Yeah. No, I think when it comes to their relationship, it's kind of like a mix of, oh, we're sharing BL with each other, but then also Sasaki helps Miyano's friend Kuresawa when he was getting jumped. And so it's like sort of a mix of like gratitude for like, hey, thanks for saving my friend. And also it's really cool that we're connecting with something that Miyano is so passionate about and also secretive about unless you know him at the same time.
Right.
But yeah. But I think at least what I like with this, and something that I noted in other like shoujo anime, is that when you read these stories or watch these stories, sometimes people confess for like the littlest things. Like they aren't even in the same class. It's like, how did you even meet? How did you even know that you like this person when y'all haven't spoken to each other before? So like we see that a lot of like, oh, these random confessions, and it's just like, did y'all have a class? Like, where is this coming from?
Yeah. It also feels very high school at the same time, though. So it's kind of like an interesting, like, wait, why is this happening? And then also another reminder of like, well, when I was in high school, I don't know if you've seen posts, but like on Instagram or something where they're like, girl, the only reason why you like this crush is just because a lack of information. That's it. You just like this person because you saw them for 2 seconds. And sometimes that's how like my high school crushes were anyway. I'm like, I like them. It's because I don't know them that intimately, but I like them.
Right. It's like you meet somebody at the school dance and you danced with them and it's like, they're my boyfriend now.
I'm in love.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel like I still sort of like people in that way. And then I'm just like, I'm not ready to date. So let me ruin it by looking at their Twitter likes. I'm sure I'll find something I don't like, and then it's going to ruin whatever rose-colored stuff that I have going on here. So, but that's a little dark.
No, I'm just like, because I'm living that dating app life right now. It's real rough, y'all. And it's like when you see somebody and like their picture looks good. So it's like, oh, okay. So the next thing is you go and like read their profile, and then like their profile absolutely ruins it. And you have no choice but to swipe left.
Yeah. Just like, I don't know, like I'm the alpha. I only eat steak.
Right. No, there was one in particular that I saw and I was like, oh, okay, like they're attractive. I wonder what their bio says. And like their bio was like, okay, it was like trying to be funny. And at the bottom it said, if you like Taylor Swift, go play in traffic.
Oh, damn.
I'm like, it's okay to not like Taylor Swift, but that's like extremely violent.
Right. Like, damn.
I wouldn't feel safe in a room with you.
Right. Like, just don't give them the aux cord if y'all go driving somewhere. Like, wow.
Right.
Okay.
It's not that serious.
Right. It's that simple.
It's not. I think, what did I have? Oh, the banana split. I believe this is from this episode. One, I thought that Sasaki's hair was naturally orange.
So did I. I never know what to think, you know, because there's such crazy hair colors like in animes in general. So I'm like, I assumed it was just natural at that point. But it was really interesting about them going into the intricacies of dyeing and re-dyeing their hair for school events.
Yeah,
right.
True.
I think they had this one of the previous episodes, or like one of the after I wouldn't say it's an after credit scene or something, but like one of the scenes you see Sasaki's sister and mom sort of, and like their hair also looks orange. So I was just kind of like,
they all have a dyeing session monthly,
Right.
touching up each other's
Oh my
roots.
god, family bonding. They all dye their hair.
it's like family dye. Like, yeah.
Right. It's a little weird, but it's kind of cute.
Yeah, we're all choosing to be ginger.
I'll roll with it.
Yeah.
I believe it to be true.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have Rocky Road?
I do.
Okay.
There was one scene, and I think we were talking about like it also being a nice comedic scene, but at the same time, it made me really sad when Miyano is in his room trying to basically convince himself he's not queer. That kind of made me emotional.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, dang.
Yeah, that makes sense to put in Rocky Road for sure.
Yeah, I was like, dang, you going through it. And like, as someone who's like also worked through my own internalized homophobia, I'm like, it's that journey. It's sad and it's rough
Yeah.
and so confusing. But yeah, I was like, dang, the feels.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, me and Chika are both bi, so we're in the queer family. So when you start experiencing those feelings, it shakes you up. You really don't know how to process it at first. And, you know, I'm like from afar, like patting him on the back, like it's going to be okay. You're going to get through it.
Right? Like, you're going to be okay, kid.
Yeah. You'll probably even be better on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I like is just, well, not about that scene, because like I understand like why you would feel emotional at that scene. And I mean, I did too. And that I know Miyano's working through it. So it's like I'm giving him the grace to work through it. But then having Sasaki just be so present, but then also I think just accepting in a way. I think that's just how he is, in that Sasaki, when it came to reading BL, was very open to talking to Miyano about it and just talking about it in general to other people if they asked him. And so him having feelings for Miyano and just being like, yeah, you know, I do. That was sort of a bomb for me, because at least when I was growing up, it was just more so like shame. Like I couldn't even fully think about how queer I was until I was in college. And so then it's like I'm on my own and I don't have to be under like this weird immigrant pressure or authority of like man and woman, Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve type of BS.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, yeah, him just coming to terms with his feelings. And then even at that point, just being like, wondering if he could be the top in the situation. Like, oh, like, there are short semis all the time. Like, okay.
Asking the important questions.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
I just love that he allowed himself to imagine it. Like, that's part of processing, even if it's embarrassing. You know, he allowed himself to go there.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like, I'm so team cringe as a teenager. Like, be cringe. Like, that's how you figure out
yeah.
stuff.
Yes. I was like such a cringy kid, so I strongly advocate for just being as cringe as you want to be.
Right.
Yeah. I remember having snooky hair and going to the eclipse like viewing, I think.
I had a scene face.
Yeah.
I'll share a scene picture when we post this episode.
I don't know if I'm gonna post mine because I don't need people to judge me, and I have locks now, so like don't even start about creamy crack relaxers and shit. But I did have it's like snooky hair. It's like snooky hair on top, but then tracks, but so it was long.
Incredible.
There was a lot going on, and I was just like Team Jacob, and then Eclipse was wild. Anyway,
What a time.
definitely a time. And look at me getting Twilight somehow is still...
Twilight is still coming up every now and then on this podcast, and I love it.
Yeah.
I'm not even a Twilight fan, which is great because I just love that it keeps happening to come up.
It comes up all the time, and it's really my fault. My bad, y'all. Okay, like we
No,
are an
it's
anime
great.
podcast. Okay. Does anybody have nuts points?
No, I just have ice cream, you scream.
Me too.
Okay, yeah. Let's move into ice cream. You scream. I didn't have hot fudge either.
Okay.
Pearl, do you want to go?
Yes. It was just like a minor thing. And I think it's mostly like a stylistic director's choice, but like the way that Sasaki runs into Miyano feels almost too planned to me sometimes. If I like think back to some of the shots at the school, I'm like, this school is really huge, like so big. And the fact that like they're constantly just like running into each other, and it's always like, oh, Sasaki senpai, oh, Miyano-chan. Like, I'm like, how are you all running into each other so coincidentally? So that was just like one thing that kind of made me feel like the episode was a little less believable, but it's just a small thing.
I feel like Sasaki was probably doing it on purpose.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Like, that's one of his things that, I mean, if we're gonna go into like love languages and like believe in all of that, is definitely physical touch. Like, he...
Oh, yes, without a doubt.
He
Yeah, definitely
wants to touch him so bad. So it's just like, I'm gonna let you run into me. I'm gonna see you. He's making these opportunities and then just acting like, oh, it's a coincidence. What? We're in the same hallway. That big ass school. We're in the same hall. We're in the same space.
Hands on hips. Ugh, we're running into each other here again.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gianna, what was your ice cream you scream?
It's about Ogasawara.
Okay.
He says, me and my girlfriend have been fighting for 2 months. I wrote, oh my God, break up. We call that incompatibility.
Yeah.
You've been fighting for 2 months?
Like,
I could almost see like 2 weeks if it's going to be 2 anything. But like 2 months, I truly think that is just incompatibility.
2 months is a long time.
yeah.
Yeah, especially at that age.
Right.
I would get tired.
Right.
Same.
Like, let's take a break. You know, they do that. Teens do that. We're taking a break right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, like, 2 months because she likes BL. But then even hearing Miyano's explanation, just like, she likes BL, but she also likes you, and he's just all happy about it. It's like, you wouldn't get that
Right. You don't gather that?
from your own relationship?
It's like, does the homophobia color how you see things that strongly? Like,
Right.
he's just like really
Right.
focusing on like, oh, she likes BL. And girl likes you too.
Okay.
Like, 2 things can happen at once.
Right. That's just one of the things she likes. She's probably a multifaceted human being.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
There's a whole spectrum of things. Like, come on. But yeah, I guess that is episode 4. So let us move into episode 5. Bit by bit, here's our soft serve summary. As summer approaches, the high school hosts a sports festival. While alone with Miyano, Sasaki confesses romantic feelings for him, but says he does not need to answer him immediately. However, when Miyano asks what is it that he likes about him, Sasaki panics and says, your face. Alone, Miyano wrestles with his complicated feelings for Sasaki and briefly becomes sick. At a committee meeting, he falls asleep, and Hirano asks Sasaki to watch over Miyano while he goes to see a teacher. When Miyano wakes up, he is startled to see Sasaki. Hirano observes their tense interaction, and after Miyano leaves, Sasaki confides in him about his confession. Using Hirano's phone, he calls Miyano and tells him he likes more about him than just his face before hanging up. Hirano and Sasaki talk in more detail as Miyano feels relief that Sasaki likes him for more than his appearance, which he was insecure about in middle school. And that is our summary. Okay, getting into themes. Pearl, what is your theme?
So I am not writing them out as lovely as Gianna, so I am sorry for that. But
Don't be.
I feel like there's some kind of theme within, like, trying to explore toxic masculinity and like proximity to that, because I feel like Miyano was really racking their brain around like, I don't want to look like a girl, like my feminine face, like that really bothers me, like I wish I had a manlier body. And it's interesting too because like Japanese beauty standards for men compared to American beauty standards are already more feminine from my point of view anyway. So I thought it was interesting that even Miyano, you know, in the culture that he's in, was like really self-conscious about looking feminine. And so I was like, toxic masculinity appears again. So that was one. And then a flip side to that was also just wanting to be liked for who you are and not just your looks, which I totally get. You want to be liked for the person that you are, not just your meat sack, your body.
Right.
So those are two things that kind of stood out to me.
Yeah.
I think those are excellent themes. I struggled to find like a solid theme. I think I was just lost in the sauce of the episode and just like kind of taking it in. But I think you really hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't think until Miyano fully accepts himself, I don't think he can acknowledge Sasaki's feelings, if we're being honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you have so much BL, but you're saying that you like girls. But yeah, so I think once Miyano accepts himself, then he'll be able to see what it is that Sasaki has to offer. But I think for theme, I didn't have really a concrete one. So I will go to you, Giana. What is your theme for this episode?
Unfortunately, I didn't really have a concrete one either, but what I felt the most from this episode was a lot of building tension. So I just wrote that down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Any sprinkle on top?
I do. I have two.
Okay.
Well, I should say 1.5. I meant to like do some Googling today and completely forgot. But while they were talking, and this is definitely a stretch at this point, but I think it's fun, so I'm going to leave it in. While they were talking in the shade, there were these white flowers falling all around them, and I wasn't sure what the flower was, and that's what I was going to Google. But instead, I'm going to go with, it's kind of giving petals falling, like, he loves me not. I don't know. That's probably a stretch, but I think it's fun. So I'm going to leave that. And my second sprinkle on top was just the foreshadowing in the episode, because they were talking about the BL manga where one of them gets sick, kissing through a mask, and then they have to take turns taking care of each other. And then touching, through a mask comes up later in the episode. So I just picked up on the foreshadowing in that way.
No, that's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Pearl, do you have any sprinkles on top?
I don't.
No, that's fine. That's fine, because I didn't either. So we can move to Floats Your Vote. So, likes. I guess even just getting into Sasaki talking about his feelings, I was just really proud that he just confessed. Because prior to, it was like he did it because he couldn't help himself and he thought that Miyano was sleeping, but he just had to get his feelings out. And so I felt really proud of him for doing that.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to do, to open up to someone that way.
True. Takes a lot of courage.
Yeah, yeah. Pearl, what is one of your likes?
There was a moment, it was when Hirano gave Sasaki his phone. And Sasaki was like, okay, I'm going to tell Miyano more about how I feel. And it was just kind of like not that much more. And then Hirano was like really mad. Like, why didn't you say more? Like, you should have said more to Miyano over the phone. I just thought it was really funny. Like, bro, you got to go all out. I just really liked the energy.
Yeah, because Hirano was just like, can I punch you? Because what was that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess for Miyano, it was enough because he has a complex about his face. It was interesting because I think that was another one of my likes from earlier, was just initially he confesses that he likes him and then was just like startled, oh, your face. But then when he's thinking about it, it's so much more. He's like, I like his face. I like his smile. I like how he responds to things. I like this. I like that. There's so much more. And so you're hoping it's going to be a full out thing. And it's just like, nope, it's more than just your face. Like the reason why I like you. Bye. Giana, what is one of your likes?
Weirdly, I only wrote one Floats Your Boat down, but I did not in any way dislike this episode. So I don't know why I only wrote the one down, but it was about that conversation they had in the shade. I just really loved all of the vibes there. Like I said, we love tension over here. So they're both having secret thoughts about the other and the state of their relationship as they're chatting with these flowers falling all around them in the breeze. And then Sasaki reiterates his confession, which is super bold. And the fact that he also tacks on you don't have to give me an answer right away, just making sure that there's no pressure just allowing Miyano enough time to process the feelings. I just thoroughly enjoyed all of that. I'm so rooting for Sasaki with all of my heart.
Me too.
It's really considerate for him to say, take your time, not only from like, oh, I don't want to give you too much pressure to like answer and like make up your feelings, like make up your mind about your feelings right away. But also I think to my earlier point of like power dynamics, I'm like, you are a senior.
Yeah.
And so there might be this pressure where it's like, oh, I have to like answer you right away. Like I need to come like with an answer like by tomorrow or something like that. So it's good to like, I don't know. It's a nice thing that speaks to his character to be like, oh, you can take your time.
Yeah. Like just giving him that space to figure everything out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I guess I have the most floats your boat. So I will try to make this quick. So one, I wanted to have Hirano appreciation. So at first, Hirano finds Sasaki like in the shade after the confession. And since Sasaki looks so out of it, he asks if he's sick and if he wants him to sub in for him during like the relay, which I thought was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next was also Pearl's floats your boat in that Hirano shares his phone, kind of like a fairy godfather to just be like, okay, fix it. So I think it's nice to sort of see like this outside person kind of clue in on both sets of feelings and just sort of root for them in that way. And to be that kind and just open about it, I thought that that was really nice to see.
Yeah, I actually had that in my Rocky Road.
Oh.
I had like a bit of an emotional reaction. I didn't cry or anything, but it just kind of hit me.
Yeah, you're right, because of the fact that like Sasaki basically telling his good friend that he is queer by the fact that he confessed, and then instead of him being like rebuked about it or made to feel bad for liking Miyano, instead he's just like, how can I help?
Exactly. That's exactly it. It's just the instant support. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, and then another Hirano thing that I forgot to add was like sort of, it's not really post credits, but it's like Hirano at first was just like, didn't I tell you to leave Miyano alone? But then once he realizes that Sasaki is really serious, he sort of gives his blessing.
Mm-hmm.
So I also thought that that was great as well. And the last floats your boat I have is when Sasaki is watching over Miyano as he's sleeping, and he's like fighting himself because he's just like, don't touch him, but I want to touch him. And so he sort of does, and like the light was cascading through the window, and then I was just like squealing like a pig. I was like, oh my god, what?
Okay. I wasn't.
I get why it's mixed feelings.
It's like I wanted to put it in floats your boat, but like I couldn't. But it's actually an ice cream you scream.
Oh!
I know.
Oh.
I know.
This is very rare. This is very rare for me, Pearl, for this to happen.
This episode is wild, y'all. Listeners, we're turning up.
Yeah.
This episode. No holding back.
Like, usually we're like one accord, and then she's just like, ice cream. I can understand why it's ice cream you scream.
Yeah, I'll elaborate when we get there.
Okay. But that is all I had for Floats Your Boat. So moving into Banana Split. Pearl, do you have any?
No, I don't have anything for Banana Split. My next category that I have something in is nuts.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh. Okay. Gianna, do you have any Banana Split?
I have one. We already talked about it, so we don't really have to spend much time on it, but it was when Sasaki made that phone call to Miyano, and he's like, I like you a lot for more than your face. That's it. And I'm just like, Sasaki, that is not the way. This boy is sick, and he just woke up. I'm glad that it made him feel relieved, but that is just quite the info dump when somebody's not feeling well and groggy.
Right. No, I get it. Yeah. Because it really could have been more.
Right.
It could have been all of the things that he listed out when he was like, no, wait.
Exactly.
There's more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just saying for more than your face doesn't really clarify anything.
Really does not.
Right.
Not at all. It just adds to the confusion.
Yeah. So my Banana Split was when Miyano mentally, like, he says, like, thank goodness that, and it was like, just before Sasaki actually does confess, because he at first was agitated, but then he feels like, oh, maybe it's not real. Maybe I just lied to myself. And so I think that's sort of getting to that internalized homophobia of like, he doesn't want to rock the boat and stuff. And so I kind of at that point felt bad because we didn't know that the confession was coming, but we knew that Sasaki sincerely does like Miyano. So it's just like, this is going to be a slippery slope. I think the next thing I have is Miyano's complex about having more of a feminine face.
Yeah.
Which also goes to that, like, I don't know if it's, no, I think this is touching on when Pearl talked about toxic masculinity and stuff, because I think, he could really use that to his advantage, but instead he has a complex about it. So I don't know. It just brings up more questions possibly for Miyano in that, oh, does Sasaki like me because my face looks feminine? But it's just, that's not what it is. He likes you for you, but...
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I can like understand where it's coming from, because it's like he liked this girl and all she could think about was like how pretty he was. Like that's going to give you some insecurities.
Yeah. Especially when it's like almost like forcing gender onto somebody when like they haven't vocalized what they identify as or how they like to be perceived, that kind of thing, especially from somebody who says they like you, right? And then they're all like, oh, you're this kind of person, you look like this, da da da, and it's just kind of like, wait, I don't identify with any of those things about myself. What? This is weird. And then like, it just kind of spirals.
Yeah.
It reminded me so heavily of Yukimura from Maid Sama. That's all I kept thinking, because no matter what he did, he always ended up forced to being like cross-dressed in some way. So like the struggling with feminine features when like you don't want that forced on you. I couldn't stop thinking about Yukimura a lot during this episode.
Yeah, because you just kind of... I think it's just nice to be able to come to terms with who you are on your own without somebody sort of pushing something onto you.
Yeah.
And so I think the girl that he liked, thinking that he looked feminine, made him... Maybe that was even the start of him being so confused about himself and trying to accept himself, because it's just like, that's not how I see myself. But then he's also not trying to see himself, or at least not fully understand what he's doing, or maybe he's just not at that point yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the last thing that I have in Banana Split is waiting for Miyano to acknowledge his feelings is like watching someone get to the finish line of a race. Like, you're just there. It's like, you're almost here. You're almost here. Keep going.
It's like the air traffic, like the cones, the neon, like,
right?
When
like,
you're directing the plane.
This way.
Yeah.
That is very much how it feels.
Okay. Any rocky road?
I have one.
Okay.
It just kind of hit me seeing Sasaki so distraught when he was caught off guard and only told Miyano that he liked his face when it was like so much more than that. He's like somberly ruminating over that mistake, thinking like he messed things up. That's a scary thing to go through when you think you said the wrong thing and like it could all be over, when it's like not usually that dramatic, but sometimes it feels that way when you feel like you've made a mistake with somebody you care about so much. So it just kind of hurt my heart to see him going through that.
It definitely reminded me of high school. 'Cause it's just like, a mistake you make in high school, you think it is the end of the world. Like, it is over.
Right.
And it's just like, no, it's not.
So true. Everything feels so high stakes in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I didn't have any rocky road. So, Pearl, if you don't have any rocky road, we can move into nuts.
Yeah, sounds good. So I just had one thing for the nuts category. I was just really shocked that Sasaki was like touching Miyano when he was sleeping. I was like, why?
Right.
He is not awake. He cannot give consent. Why are you touching? Also, he might be sick. Like, don't touch him. Like, you might get sick too. Like, what's happening?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
You know what? It would have been satisfying if he got sick too. I'm Because, like, he kind of shouldn't have touched him. Because, like, I was just into what it looked like and not the implications, okay? Because, like, I get why Giana doesn't like it. And I also get why it's a nuts, because why would you touch a sick person? You don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we're talking about it, I might as well. It really is just the non-consent of it all. I felt uncomfortable the way he was, like, watching him sleep. Like, it'd be one thing if he, like, sat across from him at the table and was, like, reading a book or catching up on an assignment, just, like, waiting for him to wake up, and, like, maybe he caught himself staring once or twice, but he literally just, like, sat on the table directly next to him, very close to him, watched him sleep, touched him through the mask without permission while he was asleep. It's borderline hot fudge in a way.
Low key.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't say yes. And I mean, considering how the amount of turmoil that Miyano is having about what his feelings are, if he's queer, what does all of this mean? And then he's kind of being touched without being asked. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, I get that Sasaki has had these feelings for a while and he's sort of been holding back or trying to hold back and everything. But at the same time, it's like he should respect his boundaries.
Right.
Would Miyano be okay with you touching him while he's sleeping? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Pearl, do you have Ice Cream You Scream?
Yes, I have something for Ice Cream You Scream. I think it was just kind of like a repeat of like, oh, why are you touching someone without consent? No. And then there was another thing that I was like, Hirano, now you know damn well Miyano is not feeling good. Why didn't you wake him up and let him go home while it's still light out and not have him sleep at the desk? Like, I was like, why didn't you wake up your homie? Like, that is uncomfortable. That was it, though.
Right. Because, I mean, I think that whole situation, it didn't have to happen if Hirano had just been like, hey, it looks like you're not feeling well, you should go home, versus waiting for him to wake up and stuff. Because, like, I know if I took a nap, or not that I meant to, but, like, when you take a nap and then you get shaken awake, basically, like, you're so disoriented, which at that point makes me feel even worse for Miyano, that, like, he was disoriented trying to get home, and here Sasaki's just like, I like you for more than your face, bye. Like, okay.
Right. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just trying to get my shit together to go home. Like, what? Okay. But yeah, so I think my Ice Cream You Scream is that I kind of wish, I know that this is just 12 episodes, but I wish that it was longer. I wish we got to see, I know we'll see what it's like in the latter half, but I wish we could just see how this dynamic develops even more.
Yeah.
Because I will say, like, compared to other BL that I've seen, at least this one is more wholesome, which I like. I mean, I think BL just has its own spectrum in general, but just seeing them grow, and I think giving Miyano more than 12 episodes to kind of grow into himself would be nice.
Yeah. I even would just like to get to know them more individually on a deeper level.
Yeah, just to get a firm grasp. Like, I know we can read the manga, and the manga's available, y'all. We get it. Mm-hmm. But anime-wise, like, it would be nice.
Right. Those things should be included.
Yeah. But okay, I guess we can move into episode 6. Okay, episode 6, Feelings. Here is our soft serve summary. After Sasaki's confession, he and Miyano continue to spend time together as friends. As midterm exams approach, Miyano considers the best way to celebrate Sasaki's upcoming birthday, given their current, uncertain relationship. When the day arrives, he ends up giving him a lollipop Toshiro offered him. One day, while walking to school together, they note that a year has passed since they first met. On the last day of exams, Sasaki and Miyano share an umbrella while walking home, and Miyano takes the opportunity to ask Sasaki outright if he's gay, and Sasaki responds that he was never attracted to other men before he met him. Miyano admits that he has never considered the possibility that he likes boys, and he's still unsure of his feelings, also suggesting that Sasaki's feelings may change as he does. However, Sasaki says that he is happy that Miyano is giving his confession serious thought and declares that his feelings for him are unconditional. They agree to remain friends until Miyano is able to give him a certain answer. And that is our summary. So, as for theme, I guess, Giana, do you have a theme?
I do, and I tried to be poetic again.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm glad you're here for it, Pearl. So I put, people physically age, but true love is not skin deep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Okay, Pearl, do you have a theme?
Yeah, I got taking your time to understand your feelings is okay. It's also great to let someone know that's what you're doing, thinking more and needing more time. It's just kind of like a theme of like emotional intelligence.
Yes. It resonates. Finger snaps.
Yes.
I don't think my mic will pick them up, but I am snapping.
Thank you. Spiritual snaps. I feel them.
Yeah. So my theme is very ignorant and stupid. So I let him lick the wrapper like a lollipop from Little Wayne. Very ignorant and stupid. It does not, like, nothing like that even happens in the episode. It's just because he gave him a lollipop and my mind was just like...
Oh no, could that be a sprinkle on top? I don't have any sprinkles on top, but this is giving...
I don't think that's a sprinkle on top.
No, I'm
think
joking. It's
just...
giving Imitsu gifting the cat, you know?
Oh, yeah, from Oku, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Giana said something very iconic when we were covering Oku. There was a character named Imitsu, and she gave the main lead, Arikoto, like a little white cat, and Giano's just like, oh, she's figuratively giving him pussy for later.
That connection.
That is what Giana's referring to.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so here I am talking about the lollipop. No, it was just... I was just being ignorant. I was just like, like it reminded me of... I don't even remember when Lollipop came out, but it reminded me of when I was in school.
Early 2000s.
And I heard it and I was just like, yeah. Like, okay. Okay, any sprinkle on top, anybody?
No, I don't have any.
Same. Okay, so let's move into Floats Your Boat. I like that Sasaki tells Miyano that he wakes up early to take this particular train just so he can see Miyano. I thought that was very, very cute.
Yeah.
Giana.
My first floats your boat is that Miyano wants to get something for Sasaki for his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's like considering these feelings and he doesn't know like where he lands, he still wants to do something more for him than just say happy birthday. And I think that's really sweet.
Yeah, I think the fact that he still appreciate him, and it's like, despite the fact that he's grappling with those feelings, it's like, you know, I still want to give you something. And I think that that's really, really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Pearl.
Yeah, so I have a few actually. I'm like looking back at these notes. I'm like, oh, I guess I enjoyed this episode. Like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So I don't know if all the music has been the same for all the episodes, but for this episode in particular, I just thought the music was really cute. It stood out to me a lot. It was giving like slice of life meets like Pokemon a little bit. It was just really upbeat and like really cheerful. Yeah, it was just really cool. I really liked the music. I also really loved seeing Kuresawa just super into his girlfriend. I was like, look at him. He said, my life is for you. I will go to the bookstore for you. I was like, listen, this is the boyfriend energy we deserve.
Yes.
And this is awesome. I loved hearing him just like gush about his relationship. I also really liked that I got to see relationship dynamics between Miyano, Toshiro, and Kuresawa. Up until this point, I didn't really feel like I cared about them because for me, in order to care about a character, I need to be given a reason to care.
Yeah.
And that can only happen if I know more about them, right? See their interactions, see their values. So I actually got to see more of that this episode, and that was really nice. And my last thing was I liked that there was some movement between Miyano vocalizing, being confused, and needing more time. I think it also is like, you know, patriarchy, capital P, really just enforces like men do not share your feelings. Like, don't talk about like what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
And it's really good to like see, because Miyano's a child, to be like, no, like you can actually talk about your feelings, and it could just be a literal I don't know right now, and to vocalize that. And I think that's really important to see on TV.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just to have that space of, okay, it's okay for you to have feelings. And if you need more time, you can get more time. I like that as well. You know, I think that oftentimes we'll see that men are told that they're not allowed to have certain feelings and stuff, or to even be questioning about certain things. So it's nice to sort of to see in this show, or at least this episode, that it's okay for you to have questions. It's okay for you to think about, hey, maybe I'm not, you know, straight as an arrow. Maybe there's a little bit more to this, and it's fine. So yeah, I totally agree with that. And also that Kuresawa was one of my likes as well, because I'm just like, yes, simp for your partner. You were born for your partner. Like, come on. Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
When will it be our turn, please?
Please.
Yeah.
I do have something kind of related to Kuresawa's rant about his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Miyano thinks of when Kuresawa says, when she smiled, I instantly fell for her. When he sees Sasaki smile at the lollipop he gifts him for his birthday. Just him like making those connections. I just love seeing the blossoming and the growth of the feelings coming through. And that's also like when they were both thinking about the day they met at the very same time, like seeing that kind of coming through. I love seeing the little bits of growth.
Yeah, I like that as well. And I think another Kuresawa point that I have is that he said he would thank his parents for his face. Because Toshiro was just like, oh, your girlfriend says she likes gorgeous faces. And he's just like, so that means I'm gorgeous. I guess I got to thank my parents. Okay.
Incredible. Okay. He's great.
Yeah.
We love. Yeah. I was really happy getting to know him more this episode.
Yeah. And to see him have that sort of self-confidence and stuff. It's like, yeah. I think also something of note is Sasaki actually kept the wrapper from the lollipop that Miyano gave him. And so you see it when he's like either finishing up with his test. Mm-hmm. So that was very sweet. I was just like, oh, even like, you know, he kept that petal he pulled from his hair. He kept the wrapper thing. Like, he's very sincere.
Yeah, he's very sentimental.
Mm-hmm. I feel like he scrapbooks based off of these things alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Something else that I noticed, which maybe this will be banana split for you guys, was when Sasaki does actually conveniently bump into Miyano while they're doing these exam things, because of course he made that happen. Like, there's just no way.
Yeah.
Right.
Miyano bumps into him, and then he like covers his face. At first, like his eyes. And then when he walks away, he like kisses his hand. I'm just like, okay, you're just down bad.
He's like, I touch him. Yeah.
Yes.
That had to be on purpose.
Had to be.
I have the umbrella sharing trope. I love an umbrella sharing scene, so I ate that up. And my last float your boat was something that Sasaki says, which goes into my theme for the episode. He says, you might get taller than me and your face might change completely, but if that happens, I think I'll still like you. Oh my God.
Very cute.
That is such a powerful statement.
Yeah.
That is a man in love.
Definitely. Even when it came to Miyano, like, questioning him, like, do you like men? Is that why? Because I think he was even asking that in the sense of, one, if Sasaki says that he likes men, then clearly it's okay to like men. But then even outside of it, he's asking if he likes men to just be like, oh, I could be any man, right? And it's just like, no, it's you.
Right.
It's very specifically you. It's not like anyone. And I think my last floats your boats also from that scene is head pats.
I knew you would do the head pat.
Yeah. He went and patted his I was just like, yes, here we go. I love head pats in a shoujo. Let's go. Okay. But yeah, so that's my last floats your boat. So I guess we can move into banana split. Do either of you have banana split?
I have two.
Okay.
Pearl, do you have any?
No, I actually have no other notes. I feel like I was just like in this episode. I was like, yes, getting to know characters, loving these cute moments. I didn't have anything else.
Okay. Yeah, it did definitely feel like one of those episodes you kind of take in. I've kind of felt that way with the show in general. I find myself not making as many notes as I usually would because I'm just like so in it.
Yeah.
But my first banana split is, we kind of already touched on this, so I guess we don't really have to talk about it, was that Miyano can't read BL because it's too relevant to what's going on with him and Sasaki. So it's a shame that he can't enjoy this thing that brought him so much peace and happiness before. And it's split because also, like emerging feelings and realizations. So there's that. My second banana split is that I do appreciate Miyano vocalizing that he's still considering Sasaki's feelings, but why did he have to go on a whole speech to communicate that?
True.
I think he was just overall confused. Like, I think even him answering, it's like he wasn't even ready to answer, but he was trying to do it anyway. And so, like, that's why he just started bumbling through it. So at first I'm like, are you rejecting him or not? And then it's just like,
yeah,
he needs more clarification and now more time.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see why that would be banana split. And also, I think when it comes to him not being able to read BL, it just goes back to him not fully accepting himself. Because I know that Sasaki even talked about, I don't know if it was this episode or maybe the previous one, that Miyano prefers the ukes, which is basically the bottoms, to be handsome black-haired people. And Miyano, so he's handsome, but also has black hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think even in that prior episode, it was, he opened up a BL and it was his exact situation. So he's just really struggling. Hopefully the breakthrough is in episode 7. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think the banana split that I had, one, it was just him. I think he brought this up this episode. Maybe it was the last one, of him liking a girl in middle school, which I know that since he goes to an all-boys school, he hasn't been exposed to other girls like he was when he was in middle school. So that's really all he has to go off of. But, it's middle school. Like, you can't really hold on to that forever,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's something else we'll see, is like him just saying to Kuresawa, like, hey, we should meet your girlfriend and her friends, to really confirm that maybe he likes girls and he likes Sasaki, so he's bi. Or maybe he just solely likes Sasaki, like him just bringing up this girlfriend, like this bringing up this girl from middle school over and over. It's just like, we need to nip this in the bud.
Yeah, I wonder if that's something that he's going to have to confront. I would hope that he confronts that, because it's kind of like, from my perspective, it does feel like you're saying kind of like him intentionally bringing this up so he doesn't have to admit that maybe he has feelings for Sasaki, who is a man. And so it would be interesting to see later in the season if like that comes up, because like your formative experience being from middle school when you're now in high school is like, like that's not a end all be all. Like, you could change your mind. You could also like both, like you're saying, like maybe it's because you like both men and women. Like, it's very interesting.
I hope we get to see him confront those feelings and stuff, because it's like, stop bringing up this middle school girl. Like, we gotta keep it pushing, Miyano. We gotta keep going to the finish line.
Sasaki is waiting at the finish line. Let's go.
Yes. And us too. We're waiting. Come on over. It's nice to be queer. Come on.
Yes.
And then I think I was banana split, but I think it's just similar to what Giana was saying about him sort of responding to the confession. I think I'm glad he didn't outright reject him.
Oh, same.
But then I also feel bad in the sense that it's like, I know that he's working through his issues within himself, and I'm glad that Sasaki's giving him the space to figure it out. But then it's also just kind of like, what's it going to take for him to get to that final decision? Or even outside of it, what is it going to take for Miyano to fully accept who he is and not be so beholden to what society is telling him that he should like?
Right. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know if this is going to happen, but I'm wondering if he loses Sasaki at all, friendship-wise or relationship-wise, and that makes him like reevaluate how special of a person Sasaki is to him. Because I feel like Miyano's not the type of person so far for me that initiates growth within himself. It feels very much like I'm over here reading my books, like I'm just kind of like vibing. But when Sasaki, who's so much more of like an extrovert, in your face, like asking all these questions, saying, hey, you want to go out? Like looking at him all cute and stuff like that. I just feel like he's just a huge catalyst for Miyano to like improve on himself, think about himself. And like, I wonder if Sasaki ends up leaving the relationship, the friendship, that pushes Miyano to be like, actually, no, I really do care about this person. Like maybe I am in love. I wonder. I don't know, but I wonder.
Right.
Like he needs something drastic to happen to take his head out of the sand.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm like racking my brain right now as someone who likes to like write romance. I'm like, it's got to be some kind of wake up call situation, I think. I don't know if there is any other way for Miyano to get where he's going without some kind of drastic wake up call. Either, I don't know, what if he like has to move away? It could simply be the realization of he's graduating. I might lose him forever if I don't act on these feelings or something like that. Or maybe there's like an accident, you know, where like someone's in danger and like, oh, I could have lost you. Wow, I love you. Like, I don't know. My brain's going a mile a minute right now.
Has so many possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much could happen. But any rocky road, nuts, or hot fudge?
No.
No.
Okay.
Just one ice cream, you scream.
Ice cream, you scream away.
Okay, so I hope this doesn't ruffle feathers, but if I'm being super honest, if there was like one actual gripe with the show as of now, it's just I feel like the BL fourth wall breaking is getting to be a little bit much for me. I kind of wish we could just let this be a story about two boys who are falling for each other while bonding over BL manga without everybody and their mother bringing up BL and BL tropes left and right. Like, it can certainly be a part of the show, but it's getting to be a little distracting for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel that too. I feel like it could be, for me, sometimes visually as well, like the sparkles or like the airbrushy moments, which I love, but sometimes I'm like, oh, what is it? For me, from somebody who makes cartoons, I'm like, what is this trying to say? Like, why are you like having this moment right now? Like, is it like your heart is flustered? Is it like, you know, like in this episode, sometimes I was like, oh, it's just happening. And I'm like, but what is it trying to say? So I totally get you with like sometimes things being brought up more often or something that's more repetitive being like, oh, okay, like if you kind of conserve that and sprinkle it in a little bit less frequently, then it ends up being more impactful.
Right. I think we can realize that the show is about boys' love without them having to constantly reference boys' love.
Yes.
I feel like I probably said this in our other episode. I know that boys' love in general was derived from shoujo, but at the same time, it's like I don't think that they need to be as heavy-handed with it, like you were saying, Gianna. I think, you know, we can just get to like the meat of the story, you know, like rather than him clutching onto this, it's like, no, like figure out who you are on the inside. And then we can see how everything grows from there. You know, it doesn't have to just, you can't just mentally stop what you are physically going through or dealing with Sasaki's confession to just be like, I'm going to go read BL now. Or it's all about BL. It doesn't have to be all about it. Like, it can be about the actual relationship.
Yeah, and like I feel like even with like the friend group and like Hirano and Ogasawara, it's just like every conversation loops back to BL somehow. And I'm like, there's gotta be something more you all can talk about.
Yeah, I think that's something that I guess why I also felt like I didn't understand Sasaki and Miyano's relationship because it felt really shallow, where it's like,
right,
oh, we're just bonding over this one thing that seems to still be flattened in a way, because like BL's pretty complex and it has a lot of different like sides to it, but it seemed very like, maybe the director was like, we gotta like put in BL 101 for people who don't know what BL is like. And like a lot of the dialogue was like, oh, this person is like a uke and this person is like something else. And instead of showing it, like I'm a really big fan of storytelling that shows you who that person is versus telling me who that person is. And I'm like, well, I don't believe you because I don't see it. Like, how do I know?
Yeah. It's like writing 101, show don't tell.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's I kind of feel that way to both of your points.
Yeah. Like, I would get it. Like, you know, you like him because of the type of person that he is, but like, what else? Do y'all mutually like cooking with each other? Do you also like the same types of music?
Right.
Oh, right. We learned for 0.2 seconds that Sasaki works in a bakery and it's never addressed again. And I want to know more about that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. BL Bakery love story. Let's go.
Please.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. I'm living for that. Yeah.
Like getting powder on his face or something. Oh my God. Okay.
Oof, guys,
Okay.
spin off.
Now I'm creating scenarios.
I'm gonna write it. Chika, I'm gonna write it.
Okay. Yeah, like I think that there could have been just more. Like, what else is there about them besides BL?
I was ready for them to start a BL novel together and write.
Right.
And then fall in love as they're writing it together.
Oh my God. And it ends up being their own story.
Right.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get so excited. I was just like, oh, like somebody writes a chapter, then the next person writes a chapter.
That's what I was thinking. Chika. Oh my God.
And it escalates. Come on. Oh my God. Okay.
Oh my God. And it turns into a love confession. Like someone, like they write it down, like they change the characters' names and it ends up being like, I'm sorry, I gotta not do this on the podcast.
Okay. You know, like we've read Giana's fanfic on our podcast before. So it's just like, we are inclined.
Yeah.
Like, okay. It's like, if you're not going to give us the story, we'll create it ourselves too.
Yes, I will fill the void in all of our hearts.
But yeah, okay. I guess that this is the end of our episode talking about Sasaki and Miyano episodes 4 through 6. Both Giana and I want to thank Pearl, the Pearl, okay? Just not any other, the Pearl Lowe, for coming on our podcast and talking about Wheels and Roses and your experience, and then also Sasaki and Miyano with us. This has been so much fun.
Thank you so much for having me. I love gushing about anime and just like talking about it more. I feel like so often in like the cartoon space, anime is like looked down upon, and I'm like, don't you talk about anime like that. It could be amazing. Just say you're a bigot. Like, anime can be great. So I appreciate being on here.
We love having you on, and honestly, like, especially us, like, we try so many different things and try to get recognized in different spaces, and it's like, anime, you can learn so much from it. Like,
yeah, there's lots to learn.
We're getting all of these like lessons and learning about ourselves, and those conversations are so important, just like a conversation on a interview podcast or a talk show type thing, or like you can get the same things from animation. But either way, we are so grateful that you came on. It's been so cool. Before we sign off, let us show love to our patrons.
Yes, thank you so much to all of our wonderful patrons. We hope you are enjoying our Licorice live action coverage of Hanayori Dango, Boys Over Flowers, Japanese live action, and our Shonen Sunday podcast, Horimiya, which will be wrapping up very soon. But with that said, we want to give a huge thank you to all of our patrons, starting with our Sprinkles patrons. Thank you to Pete, PJ, Miles, and Akemi. Thank you to our Whipped Cream patron, Mark M. And thank you so much to our Hot Fudge patrons, Mark D, Mary, AJ, Mackenzie, and Aaron.
Yes, thank you so much, you all. Also, please remember that our anniversary, our second anniversary is happening in July.
Yes.
So in our show notes, we're going to have the SpeakPipe link where you can leave a 1-minute message about what Shoujo Sundae means to you and I guess what you get from our podcast. So if you would like to possibly have your voicemail included in our anniversary episode, please click on that. We would love to hear it and include it.
Yes.
Also, if you would like to, you should be. If you would like to follow Shoujo Sundae, we are on all of the platforms. Blue Sky, X, Twitter, basically, Instagram, YouTube, wherever at Shoujo Sundae. And also, if you would like to follow us individually, first off, where can the people find you, Pearl?
I am on Instagram at Fumichun, Fumichun. I'm on X Twitter as well, Fumi_Chun. And you can look at my artwork on my personal website, pearllo.com.
Yes, you must do that. You must follow Pearl if you don't already follow Pearl.
Please follow.
I'm hypnotizing you. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, please follow Pearl. If you would like to follow me, I'm Chika Supreme, and I am on Blue Sky and Instagram. But guys, I would actually prefer if you got into our Discord, Shoujo Sundae Discord. That's in our link tree. But yeah, that's Chika with a K and not 2 C's. Giana?
If you would like to follow me, my name is Giana Luna. You can stream my debut single, Twilight Champagne, on any music platform, and you can follow me at Giana_Luna_ across all socials. That is Giana with 1 N. On Blue Sky, there's no underscores.
Yeah, and I think by the time this is out, my birthday has passed, so I hope y'all said happy birthday to me.
You better have, or I will be after you.
You will be attacked. No, I'm just kidding.
Soleil will be sicked on you.
Right. You'll get cat scratches, like, no tetanus shot. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, yeah, so we will see you guys next time for another recap of Sasaki and Miyano. We'll see you then.
Yep, we will see you then.
Bye.
Bye.